It's Thanksgiving week, I guess, for those of us in America. It's kind of weird. I kind of forget sometimes it's not a holiday for everybody else. This is kind of a melancholy song that I wrote a couple weeks ago. And I wanted to tell you a story. It has nothing to do with the song. But since it's a song that's kind of like nostalgic and about memories and melancholy, all that, I just wanted to tell you a story about something I was thinking about these days. About 7 years ago, my spouse and my kids and I, we were living in Florida, and we were living in Orlando, big city, especially for me. I grew up in Kansas, and it was kind of overwhelming being in a big city, kind of exciting, kind of overwhelming. But there was an acquaintance there that was a neighbor that was somebody that my spouse had known for years. And so they lived nearby us, and they would come over often. We'd have dinners together. We'd just hang out. If there was a hurricane, we'd have a hurricane party. It became like the adopted uncle to my kiddos because we didn't have any relatives around. And, but at that point in my life, I was starting to question some of my fundamentalist evangelical upbringing, but I had a long ways to go. I still do. And I don't feel like when you evolve past a former belief system that necessarily all of it just disappears from your way of thinking or acting or speaking. Nor do I think it's necessary that it is. I think we can paint things too black and white, and we just kind of label something one way, and then everything that's a part of that is bad, or everything that's a part of it is good, which was a problem with my worldview, thinking we were right and we had everything right. We're the church, we're the Christians, we've got the truth. Not. Anyway, as I was evolving out of my past worldview, there were lots of different steps along the way, and the hardest part for me to question or get past was some of my political beliefs, because in my family, that was more serious than religion. So I'm still in this place now in my life where I don't subscribe necessarily to the views and ideology of either of the main parties in my country. I see some things that are right and wrong on both sides, and I see how historically platforms evolve, they change, they swap places. I don't want to get into politics here. I'm just saying I was going through this process, this journey of reevaluating everything. But this acquaintance of mine had a totally different perspective, like totally different lifestyle, different values, different political beliefs. And I found them very fun and interesting to speak with. We would fight is what we would do. We would fight. We would argue quite a bit. But there was this one night in particular where we got into a serious debate that lasted for hours. It was the most intense argument that we'd ever had and never would again. And it was wonderful, actually. I felt myself being elevated from within the four walls of the apartment that I spent every day as a mom, changing diapers, responding to a crying kid, very much alone, very, very isolated, still trying to fulfill this role of femininity that I had from my fundamentalist upbringing. And I got so much into this debate. I got so much into this argument that I completely forgot about anything else happening in my home. I failed to do my feminine duties of caring for the children and preparing them for their bedtime. My spouse was left to take care of the kids completely by himself. I didn't even hear his voice anymore calling me. Everything around me disappeared. I was so much invested in this argument with this acquaintance. And finally, it was already the next morning when we realized, well, I guess we probably better say goodnight. And so we did. But I'll never forget the experience because it was euphoric to me. Like the intensity of the discussion and the ability to just tune out everything else and just focus on something like this that was interesting to me. It brought me to a place. Was it Elizabeth Bennet? Is it her in one of those Jane Austen movies, books? She says, like, I was incandescently happy. Like really, like everything inside of me just felt like it lit up, and I was happy. And prior to that, the happiest moments that I could remember were my lessons at the piano with my teacher. Those were the memories and the moments that I lived on and still do to this day. But that moment in particular was probably one of the happiest moments of my life. But then we moved. Then we moved away from Florida. We moved back to the buckle of the Bible Belt, the wild, wild West. Not to Kansas, though. We moved a little further south. And I found myself, as time goes on, questioning more and more things. But of course, I haven't had the chance to have any of those fun discussions anymore with that acquaintance. Haven't seen them now in many years. I guess it's been, like I said, 7 years. But I wonder now how the discussion would go, because so many of my views have changed. I wonder how it would go. But anyway, that's my little story for today. And I hope you have a fantastic day and a wonderful Thanksgiving if you do celebrate it.
I dreamed of you in melody, harmony, my friend. I felt alive, but then I had to open up my eyes again to see it was a lie. Time goes on to crush our lives, and every dream breathes its last sigh. And when I scream and call your name, I know my dream will have to end. I thought it was a fairy tale becoming real for me, and so it seems that when I was with you again, time would bend its knees and set me free. Time goes on to crush our lives, and every dream breathes its last sigh. And when I scream and call your name, I know my dream begins again, begins again, 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 begins again, again, again. I thought that I could hold you tight, deep inside with song, and so I tried.